Hello. So happy to be with you today. We are going to talk about loving and hugging on and embracing our wounded places in our body beings. Now, why would we want to talk about that? Yeah, we kind of like to ignore pain, right, in our lives until it gets, hey, Natasha, until it gets to be Jennifer Faye, until it gets to be so intense that we can't ignore it. And what I'd like to suggest is that we consciously go into the wounded places in our bodies and beings and begin the process of loving on those areas. Because our places of hurt are the places that we need to work on. Those are the places, like on your body to-do list, the places to go first. Because until we really, 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 really love our wounds, we can't have compassion for anyone else's wounds. We can't be there for anyone else to heal. It's like if I don't accept A, that I am wounded, B, that I hurt, C, that I need help, then I can't accept that others are in pain, that they are wounded, and that they need help. And if I do go forward to help others and I haven't really embraced my pain, then what other people get is my fear, my anger maybe, just a lot less than love, which I don't know about you, but if someone's coming forward to help me heal, I want them to be coming from a place of love, right? Are you with me? From a place of full-on love. Like if you're going to come and help me in any way with this thing, body, being, I want you to be coming toward me in love. And this practice that I have up on agelessmovemore.com, your Ageless Movement practices this week, is going to start the process of you loving on your wounded areas, not avoiding them anymore. So, hey, Betty, glad you're with us. Jennifer Faye, I've been guilty of this. Hey, Maria. Oh, I know. Well, I believe that we all have somewhat been guilty of not facing our wounds, right? Can anybody relate? Like, we just want to ignore that and then just move forward like we're okay. But all of us are hurting. All of us. I don't know anyone. I know no one that's not hurting. In this time right now where there's we see a lot of the pain, we see a lot of the hurting places, we see a lot of the wounding, and then smeared right over this is like, oh, that was perfect. We have lived like that for a very long time, and it's time for us to stop and act like everything's okay with us, everything's okay with everybody, everything's okay with the world, because you know what? It is in need of love. And the only way for us to love those wounded places is to love our own wounds. So let's go ahead and do a little movement to get started, because after working with thousands of people, I have noticed that the most wounded place in the body is the pelvic bowl. Yeah. Because it's our creative center, it's our sexual center. It is also the space of connection with others. It holds our gifts and talents. It's where we hold the energy of money. And so because of all of that energy in our pelvic bowl, we have a lot of opportunity to be wounded in this place. So we're specifically this week in the Ageless Movement practices going into helping you to love and embrace your pelvic wounds, which will get you to love on and embrace the wounds in other places. So here, the movement's going to be about our pelvis. I'm just going to move this back a little bit, and then I'm going to move back. Oh, I need to turn this down so you can see. All right, so you're just going to come and sit. Just sit on the floor with your legs out in front of you and your hands back behind you. Now, I have chosen to have a block just to demonstrate some things. You could grab a block if you wanted, or a pillow, or just something like that too if you want. So when I'm here, I'm extending through my heels. I'm getting my tail to go straight down. I'm not arching up here. Tail down, ribs in and down. I'm rolling my inner arms out and putting my hands back behind me, so that when I sit here, I have an open heart. And then I start to breathe. And I'm going to breathe. I'm going to focus on drawing my breath all the way down into my lower belly, up to my heart, off my heart, down into my lower belly. So I'm just going to begin to do that. Then I'm going to walk my legs apart. Keep breathing. I'm going to keep breathing down into my pelvic bowl. And walk my legs further apart. Then with my hands behind my buttocks, I'm going to inhale up, exhale, scoot myself forward. I'm going to do that a couple of times. And then when I'm forward, I can roll my inner legs in. Now notice that my heels are really extending and I'm pulling my toes back to look toward my body. And I'm going to bring my hands forward. Now some of you may be so tight that you have to keep your hands back here. That's okay. Or my hands might get here, or they may just get, slightly in front of you. It doesn't matter how deep you go in any pose. The poses were built for you to use to heal. They're not really a workout. They're not really something that you just fly through, and you're meant to stay in them to help with the healing. So I'm going to inhale deep into my pelvic bowl. Exhale from my heart down into my pelvic bowl and coming forward. Just slowly walking my hands forward. And I drop my head and neck. And if I can, I come to my elbows. If I get to my elbows, I flip up my palms. And then I just begin to melt my heart space down toward the floor. Now, just go as far as you can. And I don't want you lifting your sits bones or your buttocks off the floor. I want that to stay down. I want the tail to stay down into the earth, no matter how far you go. I don't want this. I don't want it pulled up. I want it to stay down, because otherwise you're going to avoid some of this pelvic opening and you might actually hurt yourself. We don't want to do that. All right, now if you're having trouble getting down, you could take a block or something and prop yourself up. You could even go high and just sit forward just a little bit. And I oftentimes like to just take my block and put my forehead on it and just hang out there for a little bit. It doesn't really matter how far you get and how long you hold with it. Just go there and breathe deeply in and out of that pelvic bowl, and bring in that healing energy, bring in that love. So you're breathing into your pelvic bowl and up to your heart. That's the love center. And then off the love center and down into that pelvic bowl. And you're saying ha with each out breath. That's the energy of love. And you're converting this wounded space, often very wounded space for many of us. You're converting it back into love, where then it flows, then the pain goes away, then the aches aren't as much. So stay there and breathe and really love on this really precious part of yourself. Now you may know what wounded you here, but you may not. It doesn't really matter. If there's pain and if you go forward and you're feeling it, You got something you're holding there. So just be with it. Stay with it. Be with it. Don't run away from it. And the more that you're able to do this, the more you can be with others' pain. The more that you embrace and love on your painful places, the more that you can embrace and love on others. All right, a couple more breaths here. Deep breaths in, full breaths out. When you're ready, just slowly walk up. Bring your hands back behind you. And then it's like you're sitting in an easy chair. Just sit here for a moment, as long as you want. And let's just see if you have any questions. When you come up, just draw your knees together with your hands. It's a little bit easier. Yeah. So let's see if you guys have any questions or anything has come up. Hey, Michelle Gunn. Were you learning to accept that I am broken was the only way I could start to put myself together? Oh, I love that. I might use that as a quote. That is so beautiful. Learning to accept that I am broken was the only way I could start to put myself back together. Maria, that's so beautiful. It's so true. We all have to accept that we're broken. Like, I have a big party to go to in my neighborhood tomorrow night. And sometimes I really don't like to go to those things because then it's like everybody's acting like they're okay. They're all dressed up and got their sheet together, you know? But I mean, I know my neighbors well enough that we talk real. But you know, you'll run into those people, and I really cannot hardly stand to have those conversations anymore. I want the real conversation. I want to know what's really going on with you, and I want to tell you what's really going on with me. I want us to share the truth from our hearts. And that's really the only, in my opinion, the only juicy bit of life is to be totally real with one another. Let's see. Hey, Lynn. Hey, Molly Patrick. So glad you're here. Jennifer Faye. This is why I love you, Michelle. Oh, thank you. Working with the body for healing. It doesn't matter if you can't touch your toes. Instead, we work with what we have. Amen, Sister Jennifer. I spent a long time in the yoga world attempting to perfect the poses. And you know what happened? I hurt myself. And I allowed that for years. And I even allowed people to push on me, to force me into things. And I ripped out my groin. I blew out my lower back. I did my shoulder. I did so many things trying to be perfect in a pose that ended up hurting me. And still today, those are my wounded places that I have to go back and love on. So anything that you do, don't attempt to be perfect. I mean, for goodness sake, I am not. I don't know if you guys got my email today, but I made a mistake in it, and I'm human. And instead of just going, oh, covering up, it's perfect, not doing anything about it, or just being like, I'm sorry, I just went in and corrected it. And I was like, you know what? I'm human. Things happen. And I made a mistake giving you guys a gift. Have you read it yet? My Ageless Movement practices are going from $25 a month to $18 in February, and you don't have to do anything. You'll be auto-charged $18 instead of $25 in your auto-charge for February. Woo! And you get these monthly practices that are doing are healing you, that we're going in and we're talking about the real stuff. We're talking about our wounds and moving to open up this week to loving on them. And next week, it's going to be about igniting our power. And the week after that, about loving ourselves. You know, it just continues on for $18 a month. I was so excited to let you guys know that was happening. Yay. And I'm imperfect, and I will continue to be. And if you guys want someone perfect leading you, I am not it. I am a human, and I'm loving on my wounded imperfections every single day. And then I can love your wounded imperfections back every single day. Let's see. I love what you just said, Maria. Yeah. Transgenerational pelvic trauma. That's really good, because a lot of our wounding isn't just from, our experiences. We inherit in our DNA energy vibration from our ancestors. And there are things going on in my body that I don't, not mine, but yes, mine, because I inherited it. Yeah. Like birth defects, and then just things that come up further along our way, like diseases or whatever. And we have family patterns. That's why they ask you when you go to your doctor, does anyone in your family have these diseases? Well, why? Because we inherit these things. We also inherit the mental patterns that keep those diseases and injuries alive. And so when they're in our body, there are wounds, and we have to heal them. Yeah, thank you, Natasha. I just finished this week's practice and then caught you live. What a great day, Amy. So glad you're with us. Yay. Jennifer Faye, you're amazing. Thank you for the gift. Mahalo. Yep, cleaning up those generational things. Yeah, because they're ours, right? Once they're in us, they're ours. And I spent a lot of time too just like blaming my parents, my ancestors, whatever, for what was going on within me. And it was only when I took my wounds as my own, and no matter where they came from, or if I could trace them back to what somebody else did to me or said to me, or they were from my ancestors, it was only when I took them on as my own and went, okay, these are mine, and I'm going to love the heck out of these wounds, that I began to really make some changes. And loving our wounds creates the change. But I want to say something. Like, we have themes, like our greatest challenge is why we came here to overcome that. It'll circle back around. That's why I always say, have a daily practice, have a daily practice, have a daily practice. Because you have to face these things every single day. And then there's spaces within us. That's why I give you the Ageless movement practices. There's spaces within us that we don't even know are wounded. So when we're doing the practices, we can go, whoa, I didn't even know that hurt in there. Then we know, okay, I've got to work in that place. I have to address that wounded spot. And so it's just like a continuous thing. It is a way to be in this world. Just like Rumi says in a lot of his poems, a daily practice. You have to do a daily practice. Just like Gandhi said, running India, that when it got really, really difficult, he didn't just do his daily practice for 1 hour a day. He did it for 2. This is sort of the secret sauce for life. Getting on your mat and doing your practice. And I say do it first thing in the morning, and then add on whatever else you're going to do for the day. And then you've embraced your wounds. You've gone in there and smeared them with a little ointment of love, and you're available to others and to your job and to your children and to, whatever, your run, your swim, you're available to it with love. And when we go out, we don't know what we're going to encounter. Like, one day I was out for a walk, and this man was jogging, and he fell flat on his face right beside me, like flat, just boom. I saw his face just go boom, boom off the cement. And if I hadn't done my daily practice, I probably would have freaked. Instead, I could be calm and be with him, and give him my little tissues I had in my little, I call it my poop bag, because I'm walking my dog so she can take a poop. Instead of having them for her, they were clean. I gave him one, and I could be there and really make sure he was okay. and send him some love instead of freaking, because it was freaking. He was all bloody, his nose was bleeding. So we don't know what we're going to encounter. And I've encountered fish that needed help when I was swimming. Like, we just don't know. And so if we're not in a place where we have really loved on ourselves before we go out and meet our day, then what we have to give to others may be less than love. All right, any other questions? I'm so happy you were with me today. So go out and love these wounded spaces. Do this week's Ageless movement practices and just see the possibility. Notice what happens when you just consciously go into these really wounded places and give them lots of love. All right, love you all. Bye.